Today we'll take a look at how one of the first science experiments you did at school can be used to improve your cocktails. Whoever said stuff you learned at school is useless? I'll explain how mixing baking soda with acidic ingredients like citrus or vinegar changes the pH level and what that means for your cocktails. We'll make two, a gin old-fashioned with balsamic syrup and a baking whiskey sour with an improved orange shrub. We'll get into the chemistry behind this interesting technique when we reach the bottom of the glass. First, let's learn how to use it. It's cocktail time. This technique is called Reverse Acidity by its creator Liberty Adams. He's a bar manager at Takibi, a Japanese bar and restaurant in Portland, Oregon, and it was named one of Esquire's top 25 bars in the US in 2022. They are currently closed for repairs following a small fire, but Liberty reached out to share a technique he was working on when trying to clarify coffee, of all things. He didn't want to add citrus to his coffee, so he used vinegar and milk to clarify it like that. But that of course resulted in an acidic cocktail, which he wasn't happy with. And yes, he also tried the powdered milk technique, which we covered recently, but he found it a bit finicky, so he experimented on. Finally he added sodium bicarbonate, or baking soda, into the coffee vinegar milk mixture. That brought down the acidity level in the liquid, but still separated the buttery whey. He called the resulting drink the butterbean coffee. But something else caught my attention: how this technique can be used to incorporate vinegar flavors into cocktails, without a strong bite of acetic acid that can overpower a cocktail. Liberty Adams was thinking the same thing, as he already created a gin cocktail with balsamic syrup, but will also make an improved orange shrub for a wonderful orange whiskey sour. Let's start with balsamic syrup that we'll use to make the cocktail Liberty Adams calls the reverse engineer. For that, you'll only need balsamic vinegar, baking soda, and sugar. For the vinegar, find the highest quality you can to make the best syrup for your cocktail, and look for one with a 6% acidity. I'll also be using a magnetic stirrer, a pH meter, and a refractometer, which are optional but linked in the description if you want to geek out. I'll start by adding 4 ounces or 120 ml of balsamic vinegar into a large measuring beaker to have plenty of room for the chemical reaction later. At this point I'll also measure the pH level of this, just to know where we started. This vinegar has a pH level of 2.45, which is slightly above lemon juice and below apple juice. We'll increase that by adding 8 grams of baking soda. I'm doing this in 2 parts. If you have a smaller cup, start with even less. The reaction will be instant, with foamy bubbles rising from our mixture, but we'll end up with a diluted acetic acid solution, meaning it will have a higher pH level. Once the bubbles and the foam die down, I'll check the pH level, just to see where we're at. Right now, it's at 4. We just like tomato juice or wine. Let's bring that up a bit more by adding another 4 grams of baking powder, so 8 grams in total. If your vinegar is just 5% acidity, add about half a gram less of baking soda. We'll get the same reaction, as we're still mixing the base and acid ingredients. As mentioned, more about the science behind this at the end of the episode. With the foam settling down, it's time to measure the pH levels one last time. We are at 5.28, which is similar to black coffee or bananas, meaning the acetic acid will be much less pronounced. But more importantly, we need to know how much sugar we'll need to make this into a 1-to-1 syrup. For that we need to know the weight and the bricks level. We've got 130 grams at 26 bricks, which I'll add into the flavored syrup calculator on kvcoast.com. This will tell us how much sugar is needed to get to 50 bricks, which is the sweetness level of a simple syrup. I need to add 62.4 grams, and if you followed along with the recipe, you can do the same. Stir until dissolved, and you've got yourself a balsamic syrup. Pour it into a bottle, label it, and keep it in the fridge. Before I show you how to make the improved orange shrub, let's first make and try the reverse engineer. Alongside our balsamic syrup, you'll just need gin and bitters. I'm using aromatic and orange bitters. It's not often you see gin being used in an old-fashioned style cocktail, but according to Liberty Adams, the balsamic vinegar adds caramel and woody notes. I'm using the Japanese Kenobi gin in honor of the Japanese restaurant from where this cocktail originates. Start with a well-chilled tumbler glass and a large ice cube that's already been tempered. Pour 2 ounces or 60 ml of gin straight over the ice. If you don't have this Kyoto dry gin, go with the London dry gin of your choice. Follow that with a quarter of an ounce or 7.5 ml of our balsamic syrup. Might be better to swap the order so you wash out the jigger. But here we are. Next, bitters. This will add to the woody, spicy and floral notes. 3 dashes of Angostura and 2 dashes of orange bitters. No saline solution this time, since there's salt in the vinegar. Then stir to chill and dilute. For garnish, take a small circle of orange peel, express the essential oils, and place the peel on the ice. Cheers! The appearance is dark, but the cocktail's aroma reveals sweet balsamic and orange notes. When I tested this at home and my wife tried it, she said it's more like a Negroni than an old-fashioned, which I completely agree with. Gin and a grape-based balsamic vinegar give it a botanical and even subtly aged sherry-like oxidized notes, alongside the bittersweet balance, so it ticks all the boxes for a Negroni, which is a compliment for any cocktail if you ask me. So great job, Liberty! And cheers! With the syrup done, let's take a look at how we can make an improved shrub, one that uses the vinegar's acid to pull flavors from an ingredient, like orange, but we are then able to minimize the harshness of the acetic acid and even replace it with another acid, like citric, malic, lactic, whatever fits your shrub's flavor profile. So here's what I'll use to make an improved orange shrub. Orange for the peels and juice, white balsamic vinegar, sugar, baking soda, but also citric and malic acids. As always, when using the peels of a citrus, make sure the peels are safe to consume, as highlighted in our dangerous ingredients episode. I'll need 36 grams of orange peels, which I'll cover with 200 grams of sugar. Give this a muddle and leave to sit for 1 to 2 hours for the sugar to start pulling the essential oils from the peels and soften them in the process. Juice enough oranges to get 200 grams of orange juice. And measure out 5 ounces or 150 ml of white balsamic vinegar. This is a milder, less caramelized version of traditional balsamic vinegar. Then add the orange peels and the sugar. This isn't really an oleo sacrum yet. And blend on high speed for at least 30 seconds for everything to blend and mix. Strain through a cloth filter to remove the solids. This is taking some time, so I'll just move on with what we've got by now and measure it, amount and pH. I'm working with 430 ml of the orange shrub, which sits at 3 pH. We are already up from the 2.5 pH we started with from the white balsamic vinegar. Before we add the baking soda, it's again best to move it into a bigger beaker. We need to add baking soda based on the amount of the shrub. For every 100 ml, I'm adding 0.8 grams of baking soda. In this case, that's 3.44 grams. This way we're aiming for a pH level of 4, since we still want a little of that acetic acidity. It's a shrub after all. I added everything at once, but you can do it in smaller sections if you don't have a large enough glass. Same as before, once everything settles down, I'm checking the pH levels, and we're right at 4. But as far as shrubs go, you want them to balance the sweetness as well, so let's add citric and malic acid, which will pair nicely with the citrusy sour we're making. For every 100 ml I'm adding 1.66 grams of malic and 3.33 grams of citric acid, so for me it's 7.14 grams of malic and 14.32 grams of citric acid. Once that's completely mixed, I'll check the pH level one last time. We are on 2.2, which is comparable to a lemon and lime. So we're done. Bottle, label, and let's make the baking whiskey sour. As I always do, ice in the big tin, ingredients in a small shaker tin. We'll do a reverse dry shake. I'm starting with 2 ounces or 60 ml of bourbon. If you prefer whiskey sours with rye, go with that. Next, half an ounce or 15 ml of our improved orange shrub. That will add flavor, acidity and sweetness, but not enough for a well-balanced sour. So let's also add 1/4 ounce or 7.5 ml of lemon super juice and the same amount of Liber & Co.'s classic gum syrup. This is a 2-to-1 syrup combined with gum arabic, an all-natural emulsifier from African acacia trees. The addition of gum arabic adds a silky and more luxurious mouthfeel to the syrup, which is always a great thing for a whiskey sour. Lastly, replacing egg white. I'm adding half an ounce or 50 ml of our vegan foaming agent alternative, Super Foam. Drain the ice, add the cocktail and shake vigorously to chill and dilute. Then dump the ice and shake again to really enhance the frothiness and silkiness of our baking whiskey sour. Strain through a fine mesh strainer into a low tumbler glass filled with ice cubes. Garnish with a cocktail cherry this time and enjoy. Cheers! It's sweet, silky, citrusy and rich, with orange flavor coming to the front, but without the extra sweetness of orange juice. Shrub adds richness and nicely brings the flavors together. I'm calling this a successful experiment. And I hope you'll try it too. I'm honored Liberty Adams reached out so I could be one of the first to try this interesting technique. It will be fun to see where it goes. Milk punches without acidity, sodas, you let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, add a scientist emoji because you reached the bottom of the glass and we're taking a chemistry lesson. So what exactly happens when you mix vinegar and baking soda? Well, here's the equation. sodium bicarbonate plus acetic acid produce carbonic acid and sodium acetate, which then begin to decompose and form carbon dioxide gas and water, causing foamy bubbles as the CO2 is heavier than the air around it. What results from the reaction is a diluted acetic acid solution, which is what we used for our cocktails. Interestingly, in baking, this works as a leavening agent to help your baked goods rise. So once again, the gastronomy and mixology worlds collide. To see me collaborate with an excellent chef, check out this video. See you next week. Cheers!